start the stream. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm very sure. I'm sure I want to start the stream. And I am basically sure I want to start the stream. I'm sure I want to start the stream. And so, I'm sure I want to start the stream. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. We thought it was over, and it is over. We reached a milestone.
Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
Rock Flux.
That's right.
Let's get this show on the road.
You betcha. You said it all. You said it right. You said it there. Look at the color of this program. Look at the graphics on this program. Listen to the sound of my voice, sound of my human voice. Can you hear that voice? Yeah, that's right. Anyway. And welcome back after a day off and a decision to basically stop doing this thing. I just thought I'd mess around with this. A last hurrah of the incredible technology that I've accrued in order to put on a good show. However, all that said, who really cares? That's the problem. Who really cares?
Weekend weather.
And let's look at the weekend weather. Right now, currently, temperature in my neck of the woods at 5:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the former United States. It's 54 degrees outside. It was good sleeping weather for those that did not have a tooth problem or some kind of mouth problem. High today is going to be 81 degrees. There's 20% chance of rain, but it's going to be mostly cloudy. 66 in the overnight. Saturday, 60% chance of a thunderstorm, but it looks like the sun might peek through the clouds a little bit. Overnight, 66 again. Sunday, 40% chance of a thunderstorm. Sun might peek through again, and a 66 for the overnight. Next week. Next week, I'm sorry, I'm an Android. Next week, it's Monday's looking like 88 degrees, 66.
Weekend weather.
That's the weekend weather. We're done with that now. Okay. So now we can move on to bigger and better things.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Sorry for that ridiculous thing, but,
Shut your damn cake hole!
Channel check. Left channel. Left channel.
My voice should be in the left channel. It doesn't really work that way. Today we're going to play, it's not going to be a long show. I'm just killing some time because I'm going to be drinking today. And at 7 o'clock I got to go pick up my booze. So I'm going to play a little bit of
Jukebox Gold.
I think. And then maybe after that.
Solid gold music.
Funky.
Yeah, it's going to get funky. Well, anyway, I got this thing. This is pretty neat. You don't see other people doing stuff like this. The quality of their broadcast. This coloring is a little bit different. All right? I know what's going on. Excellent connection. 406 into the program. I don't know if you can see this thing. Somebody gave me this thing a long time ago. All right? And I'll try to keep it straight. And what is the price of things, okay, as predicted back in the 1970s, all right, according to inflation. And, the income back then, the average income back then was $8,960. And the average and as you go across, the only thing they were wrong about were color TVs. Because, now you can buy a cheap-ass, little TV for in the hundreds of dollars. But so TVs, the price of TVs has not. I mean, if you want a plasma 62-inch screen, you're going to pay what they say in this thing. But if you look closely or freeze this frame, you know, the price of a movie ticket in 70 was $3. In 2000, it was $17. I mean, that's almost on par. Groceries, you could buy your groceries for about $20 in 1970, and now it's $114, and that's true. Or 2000, it was. Suits, well, you know, the Beau Brummel thing, not interested in that. Automobiles, that's interesting. You know, they used to cost about $3,000, 75, $4,000. I know my first car I didn't pay more than $5,000 for, and that was around 80. And now 17 grand. And then a house, you know, you buy a house for 26, and now the average. And I remember back in 2000, the average house was like, this was like right on, you know, it was right on with inflation. And if you think inflation is bad now, man, you haven't even begun to see what it's going to be like, because we're going to see hyperinflation. That means the price of everything's going sky high. We talked about this before. You've already had crazy lumber prices. All right, food prices have shot in sky high because of the lumber. Building a new home is ridiculous. You know, you just can't. It can't. Nobody young could afford that. And if they could, it would be a waste. All right. First of all, there's so many available homes out there that just require a little bit of TLC, meaning, you know, a couple cans of paint, brushes, some sandpaper, maybe a little spackle, and some drywall to patch here and there. I mean, come on. I bought a house for under 20 grand, and my taxes, mortgage, insurance is only, what, under $200 a month, you know. So, you know, it's pretty funny, you know, when you look at this stuff. But like I said, I wasn't even going to do a show anymore. I mean, if you watch my last video, which I don't recommend watching it, it's kind of a semi-depressing thing. But, you know, because it was basically all the reasons why I shouldn't do this thing anymore. But I don't, you know, the idea is that, you know, when you don't get viewers, it's like the hell with it. You know, the hell with it. And the fact that I put on, you know, a professional show, which I like to think it's kind of a professional show, you know.
You have actually opened the door to another dimension.
Yeah, you got it.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
And I think
all three of you popped your stoppers.
But, you know, like I say, I've accrued all of this technology. And, you know, to just watch it, you know, just go down the sewers, you know, it's very disappointing. Very disappointing indeed. So, I don't know. I think that it's time that people basically listen to my music. I mean, that would be the best thing to do. There's too much good stuff that I've written that has just gone unlistened to, you know, for lack of a better word. And, you know, songs like Game Over. Or Bigger Than That.
The cruelty of this society has no bounds. The lack of empathy by the media and politicians defies all logic, common sense, and decency.
But what I was looking for is some of my newer music, and I kind of forget where I put that stuff. Oh, here it is. Like, here's a song I never really played because I got a copyright strike because some idiot sampled the beginning intro of this. And I bet the same person will probably put a strike on it. But I don't really care anymore about any of this stuff, so.
Conspiracy of ravens preying on the innocent like a murder of crows.
You know, that's one of my best songs. It's basically virtually unknown. And speaking of virtual, how about Virtual Cage?
I dropped my overpriced smartphone and it shattered. Surprisingly, my first thought was that I was free. Free from the virtual cage.
You know, you got to check that song out. I might post that individually today on some sites. Yesterday, I posted, instead of a video, this song.
The souls of millions who wander aimlessly around the streets. Dressed as they should, believing what they've been told, doing what they think is right, acting like the others, obedient robots.
Obedient robots. I mean, that pretty much has been a theme, an ongoing theme of this show. And like I said before, you know, after 125 consecutive shows, I mean, literally, that's what I did. 125 consecutive shows. I did like the calculus, as they say, on this thing. And literally, you know, based on some of these YouTube millionaires, I make no money. In fact, I lost thousands doing this. Literally lost thousands doing this. Lost. Okay. Nobody bought a single thing, you know. Nobody bought my, where is it? My book, you know, any great solar stuff, you know, despite all the benefits they are and, you know, the deals I've made. But considering a lion's share of those shows were like 2 hours, and a lot of these YouTube millionaires do like one show a week. Sometimes they skip a week, right? Because they got to spend their millions and take a weekend off. And then they do best of videos, right? Or these retrospectives like, here's where we were a couple of years ago. Well, anyway, when you take it all in the aggregate, it turns out that I've done like 5 years what these YouTube millionaires have done, right? I haven't made a dime. They've become YouTube millionaires. And I've brought you information that is literally life-saving, or at the very least, quality of life improving, right? Not to mention just really cool pop cultural stuff. I've written over 50 songs. Like, let's not forget about some of these cool ones.
There are the little things, like measuring TVs on the diagonal instead of by their width. Or the advertised prices that don't include taxes and fees or extra charges. Then there are the lies of omission, where they conveniently forget to mention a very important detail. There are media lies by the newsreaders and reporters who receive fat paychecks from their corporate sponsors.
Yeah, like that song. Or
There's a war being fought by people on the fringes of society. The ones that the system worked too well on. They're desperate and obsessed with the various causes.
that's why they call me the 21st century beat poet. You know, they even got a song about the weather.
There's something wrong with the weather. And it's not just about what they tell us in the news. There's no doubt.
You know, it's crazy.
There are numerous ancient references to one day being like 1,000 years for the gods. And though that's hard to fathom for most, it's somewhat plausible in a multiverse quantum space-time relative sort of way.
That was a theme of our shows, many of our shows in the past.
I originally wrote this song.
You know, and then there was the live stuff like that.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm doing fine. You know, behind the microphone, I messed with the colorization of this. I've got a little, where is it? It's over here, because everything's still backwards. It's over there. How do I get to it? This one moves there. Anyway, Tony Caravan Live, worldwide broadcast going out to parts unknown. And of course,
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
so I don't know, man. I just decided to come on and just do this on the fly. We'll see how it turns out. I mean, I dig it. You know, I dig this getup. Took me a long time to do all of these things, combine everything. I'm actually technically capable right now to take, well, it'll be on this side. I can actually put an image here if I wanted to, live. And of course, you know, I can talk to people and do whatever. But I don't, you know, I mean, the thrill is gone. The thrill is gone, baby. It's like Elvis doing a thing. You know, the thrill is gone, baby. You know, but
Elvis has left the building.
so I guess I left the building. Anyway.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
And those of you who have never been here before and don't understand the way I view the functionally illiterate out there, you are cattle and you're just not aware of it. And that bizarre title card I had out there, with the mouth. I mean, it was crazy. I got this self-repair tooth kit thing. I may mess with that, but I don't know. I'm starting to come down to the fact that I think this happened, this whole mouth thing happened, is when I fell. I don't know if those who have watched my shows in the past, which are about like one person, I tripped, and I used to talk about this dinner plate size black and blue, purple bruise I had on the back of my thigh. Had one on my shoulder too, which is, basically, I don't know if you could see it. I think it's faded by now. And, but I landed like kind of on my lip. But I landed onto like this cat. My cat has this little like play thing. And so it was like kind of a soft landing. But I think the power of it dislodged like a back tooth or something. And it's got it like, and might have even cracked it a bit or did something, but dislodged it. And I think the pain I'm getting is more against the gum or against the side cheek, the side of the mouth, than it is in actually some kind of cavity or infection. So I might have to eventually just get the tooth yanked, but it's just talking about it gives me a pain behind my eye, a searing, itching pain. What song is that from? That's not one of mine. Searing, itching pain.
Okay.
It's not funny, baby. It ain't funny, baby.
It's really funny.
That's funny. Now that's funny.
Good morning.
All right, we got all the sound effects. We got all the visual effects right now. We got graphics. We got everything we want. This particular color scheme I designed myself. I was going to go pure black and white, but I decided to just add a little bit to it. So it's kind of interesting. So anyway, this is it. This is the program. The world's gone mad. I like I say, you can't help but be exposed to politics because it's pop culture. As much as I avoid it, like I say, I have since nobody watches my show, everybody's a new listener, more or less. I have no cable TV, no satellite TV, got rid of it. 6 months ago, I cut the cable, but I stopped watching it long before that. I just said, why am I paying this money? So I don't have to pay that. I got rid of my cell phone service, as my virtual cage song says. I still have an iPhone. But, I got a Wi-Fi calling service that costs $40 a year. $40 a year for that to have phone service. And you know how Wi-Fi is ubiquitous these days. So it doesn't matter. I can get a call. I'm in a supermarket or store. Even walking down half the streets, people's security on their routers, are so poor that, it's like... Unless you're on like some interstate highway, it's about the only place you can't get Wi-Fi. And those people who drive those $60,000 SUVs or more on those long haul trips, half those cars have Wi-Fi built into them. So it's like, why are you paying for a cell phone service when you can get it for $40 a year? And why haven't you cut the cable yet? Cut the cord to TV. And why are you watching the nightly news? The U.S. has been embarrassed on the world stage recently because they sent a guy with dementia out to talk about foreign policy. But they did a good job of pumping them up with some, the chemistry they put in there. There's some pretty interesting stuff. What I'm surprised about the most is how people aren't outraged that those drugs aren't available to their parents and grandparents. We all saw this guy a year ago. And my father, who died of Alzheimer's, okay? So I was very familiar when I saw, countless times this current goofball, right, who's in office, speak and try to, and then wander around and all that kind of stuff. I knew exactly what was going on firsthand. And I talked to other people who had similar relatives or people they knew suffering from the same, from dementia. And then, and then after the election, he got in there and he got access to these, government drugs, right? The stuff, like I said, it's a breakaway civilization, and people just don't understand it. That organized crime syndicate that pulls the strings of the corporatocracy, which is now, taken over the former United States, they are 50 years ahead of anything. If you think your smartphone and apps are like, wow, ooh, look at the game, hey, look at the quality on the latest version of this game, it's like, man, you don't get it. They're 50 years beyond that. Cures for cancer, of course they've got them, right? Heart disease, 650,000 people dying every year from heart disease, 600,000 from cancer. That's 1.2 million people a year. In 10 years, last 10 years, 12 million people or more died from just those two diseases. 12 million Americans died, all right? And these guys could cure anything. Think of all the people, and there's no outrage in the country saying, it's like, I don't care what your political leaning is. The outrage should be for everyone who has a parent or a grandparent or a friend, an associate that's got dementia and Alzheimer, and they see this guy walking around and pumped up on whatever drugs they're giving them, saying, why aren't you giving those to the American people? It's the same with the last guy. When he got the so-called unspeakable thing, he was cured in, 24, 48 hours. And so what's all this, nonsense, as if this thing still is around and all this stuff? There's a cure. We saw a guy get cured of it in 48 hours. And then another guy after that got it a week later, and he got cured in 48 hours. Public figures, people who had access, right? Access to what the current technology is, which is 50 years ahead of anything you're getting. Do you understand? Everything you know is wrong. Where is it? My screen is completely... See, here's what's weird. My screen, for once, is actually, through this thing, is the right direction. And I trained myself to do everything backwards. But yeah, everything you know is wrong. You're being lied to. You've been lied to for decades. It's not left or right. All right? I mean, I just don't get it. I can't imagine how people could be so weird about it,
Nothing for you.
But anyway, I'm not going to get on a rant today, I just wanted to...
Taking you back to the realms and depths of time.
See, for me, this is reminiscing. Because, it's like when you walk away from something, you never look back. And I kind of walked away from this thing. It's a weird thing. But for a long time,
The only station that matters.
That was found right here. Right here for sure. So, I don't know what to say. And we certainly did try to provide...
Quality, quantity, and variety.
Rock Flux.
Let's get this show on the road.
Why are you telling us this?
I don't know. I just thought I'd wing it. I got about 45 minutes to kill. Ugh. Oh, the strength. I just woke up. Again, it's 6:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the former United States. If you're buried under 1,000 or 2,000 feet of ice, in some kind of government shelter after the Nova. I'm here to tell you that you're never getting out of there, man. And they lied to you. You know, they lied to you. The sad part about it is all the people who are just going to be vaporized, right? Who won't even have the, you know, the ability. At least I guess you could, what do they call that? You know, you could come to grips with the situation, make your peace, have closure, you know, while you're in those shelters until the food runs out and you realize, or the magma starts coming from underneath the shelter. You know, they try to protect themselves from something coming down, and they'll end up being like baked alive, you know. Never found, you know, 10,000 years later, nothing remains. It's like that forbidden archaeology stuff. Every now and then they find something like a spark plug in a rock, right? Or, you know, a hammer or some kind of device that's, you know, somehow encased in stone that's millions of years old or something like that. And they just like brush it off like saying, well, you know, well, they can't explain it. And it's like, yeah, you know, there'll be little remnants of civilizations, like of our civilization, that maybe 10,000 years from now, someone will find a piece of something. But for the most part, you know, when a planet gets totally zapped by a solar outburst, and, you know, first of all, everything just disintegrates. That includes all the plastics, all the metals, you know, it's all, you know. I mean, everything on this planet comes from this planet. You know, from dust you came and dust you shall return. You know, these statements make a lot of sense when you look at this Nova thing. It's coming our way any day now. Any day now. That's a good tune. But and then you've got this frozen ice pack, you know, glacial thing that's going to be on top, and the pressure of that is going to pulverize. So you're either going to be totally disintegrated, and all of the remnants of civilization will be completely disintegrated, like in a sci-fi movie, you know, with a ray gun, disintegrated. Okay? But if you're not disintegrated, you're going to be under ice, and you're going to be pulverized, crushed to, you know, such a small, to almost a molecular level. Not really molecular, but I mean pulverized. All right. And then buried over and weathered. 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. And just about the time, like right now, when we're discovering these things, right? We're heading to this 12,000 year cycle. We're starting to discover little remnants of this, and people are saying, hey man, there was a civilization, advanced civilization, maybe 10, 12,000 years ago. Hey, look at this artifact we found, right? And just when the next civilization gets to that point, guess what happens? Blammo, right? They're pulverized and disintegrated. And that's been the case. And that's why I told you many times, and you should go back to that video if you could figure it out which one it is. I just don't have the will to go through 125 videos and index them. I should have while I was doing it. But I believe 36,000 years ago, maybe even 72,000 years ago, there was a higher civilization. And they had the wherewithal to leave warnings, things like the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid and stuff like that, and ancient text in caves and stuff. But those things were all taken by colonial man, you know, these British explorers and whatnot, and they're in private collections, hidden in the Vatican archives, you know. And so they never shared it with us. You know, they're the stuff of, you know, the elite cocktail party, things under glass in some castle-like home in some European home that's been in their family for centuries, right? And here, come in here and look at this. Hey, look, what is that? What do you think that was under glass? And these people, oh, I don't know, but it's interesting. Very great find, my dear. Right? And they're looking at some piece of technology that's like, whatever. Which is why some of the technology just jumped out, you know, was so out of place. You know, like the iPhone was very out of place for its time. You know, if you really think about it. You know, it was like, you look at everything else, right? Life was going on, whistling, you know. Now, one more thing, right? Steve Jobs. And then suddenly there's this thing that takes over and becomes the center of everybody's life within 10 or 12 years. That never existed, right? And now has become so like streamlined and stuff that basically the thing can run from from the watch. You know, where's my watch? My makeshift watch. Let's see if we still got some juice in it. I love doing this thing. Watch my watch. I turn it on. Let's see. Where's the button? Gotta be some juice left in that. Must have ran out of juice. Darn it. Very disappointing. Son of a. Anyway, so they came up with a watch. And eventually, this will be this. Or it'll just be an earpiece, will be the whole thing. They just keep shrinking technology. I don't know why this thing lost its charge on me. I put it in the older computer, maybe something in there like just very depressing. In the wintertime, I used to like to wear it just to listen to music while I walked down trampled through the snow and stuff like that, you know.
Your papers, please.
I don't have any papers. I got no papers. What am I supposed to do? Right? I mean, I am
your main connection to the switchboard of souls. I'm the magic man.
I mean, I got that going for me. Yeah. I'll tell you, we had some fun, though, over the 125 some episodes. You know, and of course I have about 100 to 200 other videos floating around on top of that. Now, and you consider all of this stuff. You know, you tell me why I get one viewer. And see behind me that book Codex. It's one of the reasons why I just left a little bit of color on this. You know, I was going to go pure black and white, which I can do and maybe shall if I decide to do this again. I'm considering doing a music DJ show. Like just play music for like 3 hours or something like that. Drink, play music and all that. And see what the maximum amount of copyright strikes you can get is. I think that'd be interesting, right? You know, would overwhelm the system. You know, just play so many songs. Like even today, because the songs I played today were all mine, you know. And I'm demonetized. I'm unmonetized. I'm not even demonetized because I never was monetized. So I'm demonetized. So it's like, and also let's test another theory. You know, you can play Name the Song with me right now if you want to. That if there's only so many seconds of it, like that you don't get a hit, like name the song. Can you name that song in what? A couple of notes. That was like 1 second, really. Or how about, you know, see? Are these going to be copyright songs, copyright hits? These are 1 seconds, you know. And anybody who's like a rocker, because I'm just going from my rock collection. But here's some like golden oldie. Here's a golden oldie. That's an oldie. Oh, an email just popped up. See, that's YouTube sending me some kind of weird thing. Let's see. That's something else that you might know. You know that one? That was me and Mrs. Jones. You know. How about? I wonder if this girl ever even got registered her song with BMI. I'd like to play that song. 4 seconds. I think you have up to 6 seconds. Now that one you only need to play, you know, if you know that song. Let's see what we got here. That's an easy one. You know, yeah. So I don't think. I think 1 second. This will be a.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That'll be a curious one too. If there's any way. It's amazing though. But I've got the stuff, man. Do I got the stuff? You can't imagine. It's insanity. You know, I've got songs that like nobody ever even heard.
Like a Nagasaki sunrise after the bomb. There's a haunting beauty in nature, but not in man. Evil dwells in the blackened souls of the order followers and bureaucrats and the crowds that cheer them on. But what kind of madness leaves such death and destruction back then and today? How many Nagasaki-like sunrises must there be before the masses are awakened? Heroes don't carry guns or kill for the suited cowards in state houses and corporate boardrooms. True heroes teach, they heal, they build, they think and they create and they love. We've created a culture of violence from the speeches, but
I know like the military's not crazy about that line in there, but it's true nonetheless. You know, you have to accept it. Because you don't see the generals and the politicians going out there on being on the front lines like in the old days. See, one thing about even in the feudal days in the king system, at least in sometimes, not all, but at least sometimes the king was out there in the front, right? Charge, right? You don't see that happening now. They just send, you know, pawns out to do their bidding.
the cruelty of this society has no bounds. The lack of empathy by the media and politicians defies all logic, common sense.
I mean, you cannot imagine how many songs I have written, and the song I was looking for is Driving, let's see, wrong keyboard. No, well, this is Self-Driving Cars. That's my ode to self-driving cars. I don't know why I don't have it on here, but if you ever want to listen to an interesting song, it's a little bit slower. It's called Driving Down the Road with an 6-pack and the 8-track on. And there's a line in there that I was also smoking a cigarette. But it's a great tune. Great tune. A really big show. We're going to have a really big show. You know, in today's day and age, it's hard when you can do all kinds of crazy things, you know. I am a believer. Pick up the receiver. You know. And of course, the whole reason I hooked up all this thing was riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Well, I don't have enough reverb for that one, but into this world we're thrown. I think they were thrown. Like an actor out on loan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's entertaining. There's really nobody like this out there, though. You know, the morning show was a very unique show. And I think the idea of stopping at 125 episodes, you know, this is just a post-toasty. And I may do some post-toasties, but, you know, if you want to buy my book Codex that's leaning there in the back, or something from Great Solar Stuff, you can see it on the screen. You know, do it. I don't have my mug out. I stopped drinking colas. I was getting upset in the stomach. That was one of the other reasons. I was like pounding all this caffeine in me. And after like, you know, so many weeks, it just started to like eat away at my gut, I think. And so I said, well, the hell with it. You know, do I really need it? So it's like, you know, this is another thing you can do. Like, some people can't imagine, like, breaking away, cutting a cord to TV. They can't imagine getting off of Twitter. I quit Twitter cold turkey. I quit cigarettes cold turkey. Like I say, I smoke occasionally a cigar, puff a cigar, when I'm having some beers. And I might do that this afternoon. TGIF, Friday. But, you know, people can't imagine, like, getting off of things like even caffeine. Because they're all drugs, you know? They're all drugs to, like, control you, to manipulate you. It's even like junk foods and stuff, you know? Do you ever find yourself, I mean, I admit it, you know, I don't talk about anything that I don't have firsthand experience in. That's like I always said. You know, I've lived this really colorful and amazing life of travel and all sorts of, you know, jobs, exposed to all this stuff I talk about firsthand. And I always say, why are you watching the news and listening to something third hand or on social media and like looking at a meme or listening to somebody else or somebody with a blue check? You know, they don't have any firsthand experience of that. You know, it's third, fourth hand. It's something viral. They're reading a script. It's a public relations release, PR release by the corporatocracy that's ultimately answers to their international crime syndicate, right? Which is a breakaway civilization that, you know, you nouveau riche, right? You people out there, oh, you know, we're making $100,000 a year, $120,000 a year. You know, $250,000 a year. That guy's a wacko. That's right. I live on the poverty level, below the poverty level. You know, I'm retired, so I could walk up to the bar and buy a 12-pack this morning at 7 a.m. A couple cigars in a convenience store. I got some cash money left from my check. Social Security check. I have $29 left on my EBT card. All right? That's food stamps. That's right. But I made the big money. I traveled the world. I did all those things. But you got to know when to. You got to know when to hold 'em. Know when to fold 'em. Know when to just walk away, man. You just got to walk away. You got to know when to cut the cord, right? And be free. You know, we don't have long tomps. We don't have a long time on this spinning globe hurling through space, being dragged by the sun at 450,000 miles per hour, some ridiculous speed, right? Remember that scene when Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd from Spies Like Us came out of that that chamber where they were spinning them, preparing them for something, and their faces were like, right? You'd think that's what we would be like traveling at 450,000 miles per hour. You know, I mean, they have explanations for that, but it's like there are some weird things. There's like too many weird things. Instead, people talk about politics, right? And then when some of the weirdest things of all came along, when people learned about UFOs were real and the Navy was following them and photographing them and taking movies of these things, and the Pentagon acknowledged it, even though they downplayed it, you know, but still they admitted it. It was like, it's a story that just like it's gone now. You know? And for years people said, this will be the biggest story in history once we find, you know, disclosure. Yeah. What disclosure, right? Let's get to it.
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal, please. Open the frickin' pod bay doors. Man.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
So what do I do with this thing? Yeah? So that's what I've been puzzling over. You know, in the middle of the night, woke up a few times. I don't know why. Noise. I had the window open. It was good sleeping weather, as they say, but there's noise. I think there were like a couple of people pulling like an all-nighter further down the neighborhood. They were just having conversing and occasionally laughing. You know, like a couple of people sitting around. I don't know. They probably doing some kind of speed or just, you know, some people could just stay up all night because they seem to talk till like 4 in the morning or something. But wake up, you know, and then try to get back to bed and contemplate, like, what am I going to do? You know, after spending 125 consecutive days doing these things, it becomes a part of your life. And I was comparing it to, like, when I did the similar thing with Twitter, when I was, like, involved in that, how you get immersed into a world. And it's no different that people are religiously watching the nightly news and get immersed in this pop culture of politics, or those that are still into this, you know, cult of personality, save America, right? Or build back better, whatever it is, you know. Fist in the air, or signs, holding signs. We want this, you know. And the thing about that is that all you really have to do is just walk away, right? Cut the cord. Just stop doing it. And so the other reason that I'm on today is because, like, when I last left, you know, the last show I did, you know, I kind of left it open. Well, maybe I'll see you, maybe I won't, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, instead of like David Bowie's, this is the last show we'll ever do. You know, but I don't know. I used to do these lounge shows years ago. It's like these go back to the 1990s. Let's see if we could listen to the beginning of any of these, if they make any sense.
Hey, Tony Caravan with you. Good to be back. That's right. This is actually a live show, folks. I know it's been a while. Well, I guess this is no special show, and other than that is the fact that it is a long time coming.
That show was recorded in the 1990s, and it was aired over the internet before podcasting, before there was an iPod or any kind of pod or any kind of thing. It was originally broadcast in real audio. I have to watch which ones I play because, copyright strikes. But these are my old shows. So I got a bunch of them.
Welcome back. Tony Caravan with you for yet another edition of Music for Martini Drinkers, known as Tony Caravan Live. I've got a special show lined up for you tonight, folks. We're going to take it south of the border, like really south of the border. The Brazilian sound.
Anyway, that's what I used to do. I had the longest running lounge show on the internet. And I managed to find these old real audio files and convert them. And they're from the 1990s. And it was, you heard it, Tony Caravan Live. So this show has existed for literally like 25 years, man. I've been doing this stuff for 25 frickin' years. I haven't made a dime. It's crazy. I used to do Christmas shows too. Let's see. I don't think anybody would know that song.
If you're really Santa Claus, you can get it for me. And if you can't, you're only a nice man with a white beard, like Mother said.
And welcome. Tony Caravan with you for the annual Christmas show, The Podcast.
The Podcast. They stole it all from me, folks. They stole everything from me. Me and Tattoo. They stole it from us. We did it all.
You got a rattlesnake inside your house. You got a rattlesnake inside your house. Oh, yeah.
There's just one in here?
Yeah, I hope.
I hope. You can never hear that enough. That song needs to be released somehow. Like maybe in some kind of dance thing too. So that's like, it can be like, in the club sound, club scene, DJs can get into it. It needs to be mixed. Rob, if you're listening to this, you got to get your son Drew to mix that into some kind of thing that could become a club mix hit or something. Yeah. That's right. That's right, people. I've been doing this for a very long time. I may not look it, but I'm a very, 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 very old person. Very old. Way, way old. See, the problem with being an immortal, this is something people don't understand. There's a certain level of regeneration that takes place. And so you age, and then you start to de-age. This is the best way I can explain it. And so that's why a lot of people don't understand my shows and my songs and my books and stuff like that, because it's just too much for them to deal with. Because I'm surprised, the people I've known, and this time around have, people I've known this time around who have gone to school with and all that kind of stuff or worked with, how like they even haven't come out and at least bought a book. I got a stack of books I've written, 50 songs, now 125 videos, nonstop videos. I mean, geez, I published so many issues of various magazines that it's like insane. It's an uncountable amount, thousands. And I think it's just it's a cognitive dissonance of sorts to say, well, that can't be him. Maybe that's like, do you ever see Frank Sinatra Jr., right? He almost looks like Frank Sinatra did, right, before he died, kind of thing. And so, people look at you and they just think, well, maybe that's his kid, right? Maybe that's his kid. That's not the guy I went to school with, right? No, it's just I'm immortal. That's what happens. It's not what you think. You just age, and then you just de-age. And then you disappear for a while, go somewhere else. But it's not like it's a secret thing. Like, because all the secret societies I've been involved in, all of them. And I just, and it's like, I'm immortal, so I don't really care. See, I could come out and say this stuff because they can't do anything to me, right? They can't kill me. They try repeatedly. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been, poisoned, they've tried to murder me and things that have been done to me. Trying to knock my car off a cliff. I mean, crazy stuff. But see, they can't do anything because I'm immortal. And it bothers them. So they give up. They deal with it. Because they put you under, they say, well, it's fringe. Nobody's going to believe that guy anyway. He's crazy. Right? He's crazy. He's a nutbag. He's really genuine wacko. Who's going to believe him? Right? Nobody. Nobody's going to believe him. Yeah. And I don't care if you believe me or not. I don't want you to believe me. I don't even want you to maybe buy my books or any of my stuff. Because I like living below the poverty line. And it's just as well that I don't have a hit record. I mean, because when they did play, two of my songs, there was one song. One of my songs was played in, Santa Monica, famous, a big Santa Monica station. Another was played in a notable New York City station. And I got a little royalty check for that. But I'm glad it didn't, super catch on. Because, I like just being this under-the-radar guy that does this stuff. Because I'm communicating to, people in the future, or people that get it. So, or who are intrigued by it. Otherwise, that's why my looks always change a lot. Have you noticed that at all? It's crazy. I noticed that on videos too, when you go back. It's weird. It's like kind of a shape-shifting thing a little bit, but it's different than that. I mean, the best explanation that I've heard for it was maybe here. No, not that one. I have it somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if it's here. It should be here. See, job. It's not there. Maybe I didn't bring it over. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
He went forward to another time, 1,000 years from now.
Well, no, that wasn't it.
Can we use the network to transmit a message?
I can't find it. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that this thing worked. And it's getting to that point where I change my shirt, my shoes. I could take a walk up and buy my booze so I could have TGIF happy hours today. Come back, have something to eat, and that's that. So
Go ahead and shoot. You'll be doing me a favor.
I guess I'm just going to say goodbye.
Good morning.
And maybe someday, some way, our paths will unite. Or if you're very young, maybe 50 years from now, you'll see someone who looks exactly like me on whatever medium there is at that time. And you'll step back and look and say, there's something familiar about that guy. I just don't know what it is. Of course, we only have at max 25 years till the Nova, so sorry. You're not going to make it that long. And it's not a matter of finding